If you're one of the millions planning to take to the Great American Road this summer, you're in luck. The price of gas continues to fall from a high of $3.92 a gallon in April to today's average of $3.38. And industry insiders say it may drop even further to around $3 by Labor Day. But it's worth remembering that back when prices were rising, Republicans were lining up to blame the president.
Since this president's been president, the cost of gasoline has doubled.
Gas prices have doubled.
This president will go to any length to drive up gas prices and pave the way for his ideological agenda.
Gas prices are skyrocketing.
They're especially feeling the impact of rising gas prices, which have doubled under President Obama.
Gasoline prices have doubled.
Hard times don't seem to be over with the economy.
So, where is Speaker Boehner today? Eric Cantor and Mitt Romney, now that the price of gas has gone down? Are they out congratulating the president, having blamed him when prices went up? Still with us are Jonathan Capehart and Richard Wolff. Richard, can you explain why Speaker Boehner and Eric Cantor have suddenly lost their voices on the issue of gas prices? Have they simultaneously developed laryngitis?
You know, what they have simultaneously developed is a love of polling and focus grouping that gave them a message that worked at one time. It's tactical. Everything they're doing, the Romney campaign, the Republican Party, they have this short-term tactics in terms of how they play politics. And there's nothing sustained about it. There's no longer argument. If you were going to be logical, you'd now have to say that the president's ideological agenda had actually succeeded. So they could say that. Of course, they won't. The other thing is the media has fallen into that trap repeatedly. At the time the Republican leaders were saying those things, that very developed message, very consistently repeated, there were endless numbers of stories saying how terrible gas prices would be for the president. His numbers were down. His prospects as a result were bad. I haven't seen nearly as many stories citing the uptick in the president's fortunes as a result of lower gas prices now.
That's very good. And John, to that point, economists have been saying for decades that no president controls a commodity like gas. And the fact of the matter, it goes up and down depending on supply, depending on global factors. Does this explain why even Mitt Romney has now kind of removed gas prices from his stump speech?
Well, sure. You can't talk about high gas prices if the gas prices aren't high. If the American people can go to their local gas station and say, oh, I'm paying 2 cents
hang on a second.
cheaper.
Mitt Romney goes around the country, saying the president has gone around the world apologizing for America when he never did. So why can't he go out and say that?
Well, I mean, maybe even for Mitt Romney, there are some things that he can't.
Beyond the pale.
Right, correct. But, you know, listen, Richard raises a very good point, or maybe you just did. The fact that you just did. The fact is, the president of the United States has no control over oil prices, has no control over gas prices. But the Republicans want the American people to believe that if you drill now, drill everywhere, that gas prices, the moment you say, okay, Mitt Romney is president, that the gas prices are going to fall forever. And that's just not the case. If you did a drill here, drill everywhere policy drill now, the earliest you will get a drop of oil out of the ground is maybe 12 to 15 years. So what the Republicans were trying to do was trying to sort of soothe the American psyche over high gas prices by saying, well, we'll drill, when the two there's no correlation. The American people would not have felt any relief. But they're feeling relief now, and not a drill has been done in terms of a Republican
Indeed. Richard, Mitt Romney repeatedly hammers the president for not doing enough to tap, as Jonathan said, domestic energy resources like coal, oil and gas. So what would gas prices look like under a Romney presidency? And do you think that he believes he can control them?
Well, if he does, then he has no business experience to speak of, which kind of undermines his main premise for being elected president. The reason gas prices have come down is because the global price of oil has come down. That's actually not a good thing in one sense, because it's come down because people think global demand is going down. The global economy is slowing. So, you know, the problem for the Republican argument is that there isn't enough oil in America, underneath America, to affect the global price. The demand and supply issues are just too big. What has happened over the last few years is that America extraordinarily is now a net exporter of energy, and that's largely because of things like shale oil, but also because of natural gas. Those are global economic trends that Mitt Romney should appreciate if he learned anything at Bain. I suspect he knows full well that there are global issues at play here. He just chooses not to talk about them because he thinks that's going to work for him politically.
Wonderful. Richard Wolff and Jonathan Capehart, thank you both.